If you
Okay.
had to do an all-star competition, you and three other pit masters, who are you picking and which meat are each of you cooking? Well, with you, since you could pick four people and what meat are they cooking? They could be dead or
I'm
alive.
building my all-star team. Oh my God, this is not, I'm going to piss somebody off somewhere. This is like me saying, oh my God, this is so hard.
Picking your favorites.
Okay, let me think. Oh man, I think, oof, this is like so unfair. This is like when you're like on a like Survivor and like, who would you pick to go home and why? And then they all look at you like with daggers in their eyes. I'm probably gonna say brisket, and this is like I get to pick like overall time, right?
Mm-hmm. Anybody.
Okay. Brisket, I'm probably gonna pick Jambo. Because Jambo, I think, probably has one of the best bite of briskets I've ever had in my life. Okay, can I further ask, is this at their prime or at right now?
At their prime. Anybody at their prime.
Okay, well then I'm
Each
going
category.
Jambo on brisket. I'm gonna go Johnny Trigg on ribs.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I taking on chicken? Tuffy on chicken, Darren on pork.
Okay. You got
There's my dream team. Or maybe like Pat Burke on pork. He's won his fair share of pork. I mean, if I'm assembling my, dream team, that's
Okay.
probably my dream team.
All right. That's a good team. All
You
right.
notice I pick people that aren't cooking anymore? Yeah.
People gonna be like, why did she pick me?
She's so smart.
Listen, learn, get inspired. I'm Tavis Bryant, and this is Barbecue Therapy. Like, subscribe, and follow to help grow the barbecue therapy community. Also, visit my website at www.barbecuetherapypodcast.com.
Bring on down, barbecue, your barbecue on. Get your barbecue on. Get your barbecue on.
Welcome to the Barbecue Therapy Podcast. My name is Tavis Bryant, and today is a masterclass episode. If you sell barbecue, if you compete in barbecue, if you create barbecue content, if you own a restaurant, food truck, rub line, or sauce company, you need to understand marketing, not just social media. We're talking about the channel that quietly drives millions in revenue. Email and barbecue marketing. Today, we're deep diving into email and barbecue strategy, brand building, storytelling, customer psychology, and what it really takes to turn attention into loyalty. Welcome to the show, Miss Annella Kelso. I got one rule: make yourself at home and speak freely.
Wonderful. I mean, I'm technically in the office, so I have to be a little careful.
Yeah. But keep your job.
Yeah, keep the job. That's the important part.
Exactly. All right, let's take it back to the beginning. Where were you born, and what was the food scene in your house growing up?
Oh my goodness. So I am Idaho. I'm a native Idahoan. I'm born and raised in Idaho. And I mean, my family's all from like the Missouri, Arkansas area. And so, nothing wild. Like, I know it sounds so normal to say like, we're just meat and potatoes. But like in Idaho, I feel like when you grow up, it's just a very meat and potatoes diet. Like, you're having Sunday dinner after church, there's literally some kind of meat and some kind of starch in every single meal you're having. And there's probably red meat at least 5 times a week if I had to guess.
Wow.
So that's kind of, growing up, it's all it was.
So were you in the city area or the country?
Oh, no. My hometown is population 300.
Oh, wow.
So I am from a very small town in southern Idaho called Eden, Idaho. My grandmother still lives there. She turned 94 last Monday. And so, and I've got aunts and uncles that live there. My parents and brother and family live very close there, to there. But yeah, it was really small, very big time farming country. We farmed hay and, did that. But yeah, it's just very small town grow up, nothing too exciting. You weren't rushing out to big city. I mean, the closest big city was like 30 minutes and it was probably, 20,000 people maybe. That was big city to us. I mean, Boise's still the biggest city in Idaho, right? And I think we're sitting at like maybe 500,000 right now in the Greater Treasure Valley. And that's still to this day the biggest city in Boise. So, or biggest city in Idaho. So there's no, you can pretty much do whatever you want. We're still the Wild West out here.
And me, I love Westerns. All right. So from there, when you grew up, I read that you went into real estate and then you were a management assistant. How did you hear about Snake River Farms? Did somebody tell you about it, or did you research it, or did you know anything about them before you applied? Or
I was in the real estate game for a while. I lived in Nevada for a few years and decided to move back to Idaho. And my ex and I were like, yep, we got to come back to Idaho. And I answered an ad, and I think it was back, I don't know, whatever it was back in that day, Monster or something like that. And it was like they needed someone at this, and I'm like, I know the beef industry, and I know farming, and I'm pretty good at what I do is from like an executive, like marketing, like from an assistant level and those kind of things. And so applied for the job, and that was 19 years ago.
oh, wow.
And so 19 years ago, I came in and I literally kind of started as support and then just worked my way into the marketing piece of it. So I've worked in marketing, I've worked in sales, I've worked in like the outside sales area where like I worked with a lot of chefs and traveled all over the place and, was actually in the kitchens and worked with distributors and those kind of things. And then helped start the e-commerce side of things. So was on the team that started the website and then went to sales and then came back to e-commerce. And so kind of floated around and done a few things and never worked on the live side, never have worked in the actual cattle side of things because our company does everything. We're definitely pasture to plate. I mean, we have every single position you could imagine. But the one thing that has stuck the whole time has been barbecue. So the barbecue program has lived with me the whole time. So no matter where I bounced around to in the company, I've always kept barbecue.
Okay. And the parent company is Agri Beef. How many different companies are under that?
So we have brands. So AgriBeef is our parent company. And then we have 4 brands I guess now 5 brands that fall underneath, 5 beef brands that fall underneath AgriBeef Co. We have Rancho El Oro and St. Helens, which are like a Select Choice Prime brand. And then Double R Ranch, which is our namesake. It's named after our founder. And then Snake River Farms, and that's the American Wagyu beef and Kurabuta pork. And then we recently opened another processing facility, which is True West Beef. And that's a co-op partnership with some of our local growers. And that's its own beef label as well.
Okay. And when you got there, which one of your roles changed your whole trajectory of the way that you, I guess, might have went in thinking one way and you were like, okay, this is completely different?
Well, when you think you're going into work for the beef industry, right? So where I grew up, I told you this town of 300 people, right? Right outside of town, we had feed yards and we had, so we had cattle everywhere. And so I had been around feed yards and I had been around the beef industry in that sense. But I don't think it's so hard to comprehend how much goes in getting that product to your house, to getting that product to your plate. And especially when you're looking at the Wagyu piece of it, how long they're fed and what it takes from, it's always crazy to me. When you think we have stockbrokers, we have cowboys, we have cowgirl, we have all these people that are, these are positions at our company. Right. And so when you're looking at it and you think, oh, it's just beef but you're no, gosh, it's so much more. And then to learn how, the way that you sell it to a restaurant versus the way that you sell it to an end consumer versus the way that you sell it to a retail store are just totally different. And so I think that when I came in, it was just fascinating to me to see like how many different things you could do. And I had kind of like when I got back into real estate, like I'd gone to college and I was like, oh yeah, this is like lame, right? Like I was like, I liked to party way too much. I always say that I majored in fun and had a lot of it, and decided that maybe college wasn't for me. I was just going to work. And then I was like, man, I'm going to go back and get a business degree. And then you get here and you're like, look at all these different ways that I could go and get a different degree that would work here. And so I went back and, I talked to a couple people here, and I went back and I got a, communication marketing degree with a PR emphasis. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, where it kind of changed, like getting to like realizing that one customer can change how you decide to market an entire product is wild. And you don't really think about things that way, right? Because a lot of times people don't think, they think, oh yeah, it's one customer, whatever. But I'm here to tell you, and I will tell you right now, Robbie Royal from Rescue Smokers is that one customer that changed the way we started doing things, because he was super pissed and he blasted us on Facebook because he wasn't happy and he had some problems and he was not getting the level of service from us that he should have. And I just picked up the phone, hit him up on Facebook and said, here's my direct number. Talk to me. And we worked it out and we solved it. And I will tell you right now, he'll see this and he'll comment on it and he'll be like, yep, it was me. I started it. And he'll tell you that like to this day, all he cooks is Snake River Farms, and that was over a decade ago. Right. And and then it was me saying, okay, this is how we're going to handle things from now on. Like this, like we're going to take every single person at value. And we're not going to just say, I'm sorry. Like, we don't say, I'm sorry. We say, thank you. Like, we say, thank you for bringing this to our attention. Thank you for talking to us. Thanks for pointing this out. So I think that knowing that I was here within a company where they allowed you to do that, and they really encouraged like the growth, and like, I've been here for a long time. So I'm obviously, I know that like, that's what makes it different. Mm-hmm. And they encourage that every day, all the time, still to this day.
Yeah. And it makes them feel important when you take time to reach out to someone and address their problem instead of just, because most big companies don't do stuff like that. And when you took time to reach out and address his concern, it made him feel some type of way like, okay, maybe I handled this wrong. Maybe I shouldn't have blasted him. And he'll correct his part, and as well as you doing your part to correct your part and stuff like that. So
yeah, and it's it's hard because like we live in a society now where like keyboard warriors are quick, right? No matter what, and everybody is out there and it's easy. And I think sometimes at the end of the day we forget that we're all human, and like that there are real people behind what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And, I could open this door right here and you'll see, there's 10 people that are sitting there answering questions, responding to emails, answering phones. Like it's real people that on the daily people yell at, people scream at, people cuss at. And you're just like, there's really, and I myself, all of us, we all get to that point with some brand, with something that's going on, where the customer, you're just like, oh, you're like, I got to give it to this person. I mean, you've seen people ranting at, airports and all of that kind of stuff. And it's like, man, it is not that lady's fault at the gate that your flight is not here. She cannot do anything about it. And so, but it's hard in those moments, right? And so I get that. Like, it's hard when you open up that brisket and you see a gash in it. Well, by all means, did we send you that brisket on purpose because we were just like, you know what? This guy probably wants a brisket with a gash in it. No, we didn't. Right? Are we going to do everything we can to make it right? Yes. Are we going to ask for people? No, and there's times where like when I first started, it was wild, right? Because I didn't know anything about competition barbecue. I cut my barbecue chops in California, and there was a team that kind of like took me under their wing and just taught me a bunch. And like, because of them is the reason that you guys have, black and gold products. We used to just lump everything into one. And this team was like, nope, you got to separate them out. And it was like, oh, you got to separate them into sizes, right? So because of that team, like, and that was us listening and working with these teams that were like willing to say, have you thought about doing this? But I didn't know anything. If someone was like, oh, this flat is too thin, I can never do it. Or there's a cut over here, I cannot cook this. And now I'm like, show me the picture of your box. They'll be like, oh, I'm like, show me the picture of your box. And they'll be like, well, we didn't take one. I'm like, listen, there's one thing I know about every barbecue guy out there. They got 8,858 million pictures of every box they've ever turned in on their phone. And probably, I mean, in picture, and it's like, so to me, I'm always like, just try to be honest, like, right. Be honest with us and we'll do everything we can to help and to work with you. You know, we've worked with a lot of really great pitmasters to help us to understand, okay, if a flat is thinner, how can we help someone cook it so that it's not going to affect their cook, so that they can get it right and get it in the box. And so, I mean, and there's times where people just send us a picture and the brisket's cut in half the wrong way. And I'm like, why did you cut your brisket? But like, we work through those things, and we try to be just as patient as possible and give as much grace as we can. And barbecue has been good to us. And so we try to be very good to it. We've done a lot. You know, I literally started 12 years ago. 12. Yeah. I think 12 years ago, and like had a little red wagon and rolled out to a couple of contests in California with a bunch of swag. I called it my swaggin. And I had my swaggin and I rolled around and I met teams. In 2014, I think it was my first Royal that I went to, and just kind of had the wagon and rolled around and met everybody. And it was never about, I'm only going to talk to this person, or we're only going to do this, or it was always about everybody. Like, I wanted to talk to everybody and make it available for everyone. And so, yeah, we've come a long way since the beginning.
Yeah, y'all put somebody out of business because somebody had to exist before y'all, and now all I see is y'all.
You know, and it's weird because, you know, we've seen, I think before us, it was just, you know, it was choice and prime briskets. It was, and that's what people were cooking in barbecue. And with that first season of Pitmasters, you know, Myron Hand and Tuffy, a SRF brisket out of the back of a truck, that's kind of that was a game changer.
Exactly.
And so, cause, you know, that's where the winning was. And I mean, that first season of Pitmasters it changed the game of barbecue. I mean, and there's a reason that everybody's always like, go back to the way they did the first season of
exactly.
And I mean, and it's so funny. We were at the Royal one year, and Jamie Gear from Jambo, builder of Jambo Pits, we were talking about like the evolution of barbecue and like how it had grown and how different it was. And like, we're literally sitting in his spot in his beautiful, you know, bus with this giant screen TV outside. And we're watching Pitmaster season 1, where he's cooking under like 10 by 10 tents and the wind is blowing and destroying everything. And now, this many years later, we're sitting outside his beautiful bus watching that on a big screen TV. And I'm like, can we talk about how it changed barbecue? You know, and so, and it did change. You know, things have changed and the marketing has changed, and I kind of call it like the NASCAR effect. There were some really big brands that got in and dumped a ton of money. And, you know, so then it was like stickers on cars everywhere. And then like with NASCAR or any of those sports, you know, all of a sudden those brands are gone. And then it's like, well, you know, and we've never been privy to that. What we're really, really great at is we produce the highest quality, most consistent product out there. And, you know, people balk at us when we say we're the winningest brisket in barbecue. And I'm like, but I got receipts. I mean, and that's, you know, I can back everything that we say up, and there's a reason for that. And we're really proud of what we do. And it goes, I mean, I know this is like barbecue podcast, but like it goes beyond that, right? Because like we sell everything. Like we sell every piece of the animal. And that's what I've always been like so excited about. Like even in the barbecue world, I'm like, y'all are buying and cooking these briskets, but like get on the steaks, get on the sausages, get on the burger, get on the, we were in San Antonio and man, the people in Texas are so lucky. Like they can just roll into HEB and buy briskets and buy like Bill Purvis is just like picking up a ribeye roll I'm like, what in the and cutting his own steaks and everything. I'm like, I don't even think we can do this in Boise, and we are the company. But so if you're in Texas, go shopping at HEB for all the SRF you'd ever want. But I think it's like learning those new cuts and doing those new things. And like somebody in San Antonio brought some tri-tips over and they were like, we don't even know what to do with these. And I said, oh God, give me the tri-tips. And so like we cooked the tri-tips that night and I showed them how to cook the tri-tips and they're like, oh my God, this is delicious. So it's really, I think to me, it's like, that's where it's coming into like, okay, if you like this, let me show you these other 6 things you're going to like. And adding those other things to your cart. And, I do email marketing, which is a big piece of what we do from our e-commerce side. And some people just tell you like, oh my God, yeah, you send way too many emails. Well, fun fact, open the first email. You're probably not going to get something else. That's just how email marketing works. But that's where that's where you're going to get the best deals from your brands. Like people are like, oh, it's so overwhelming to get on somebody's email list. But like, that's where brands are marketing. Like a lot of people say, oh, email's dead. Email's not dead. Like SMS messaging is not dead. And brands, like that's where brands are marketing to their customers. And there is a ton of science that goes into it. There is a ton of, like when we get ready to launch a promo or anything, I'm looking at who has purchased this product before, who's maybe looked at this before, if we're doing a fillet offer, who's looked at fillets, but then also who likes ribeyes, who likes, so there's this huge piece of, did they buy last year during this time, but they haven't purchased yet this year during this time? We can do brisket sales every other month and we know we're going to have a great day, but it's getting like, how do I get these brisket buyers to lock in and be like, ooh, I'm excited about buying some tri-tip too. And so there's all of that goes into it. And then on the other side of things, every single day you're getting hit up nonstop for, will you sponsor us? Will you sponsor us? Will you sponsor us? Will you sponsor us? And so on the side of those, and not just for teams, but like for events, for contests, for everything. And you have to look at the ROI on all of that, right? And we don't usually play in money. Like we play in product a lot of the times, which we're very fortunate to do. But we don't sponsor teams, period. We made the decision a long time ago to sponsor events and to sponsor like philanthropic opportunities. And we'll do kids cues because I freaking love a kids cue. And so there's certain, we'll always do kids cue at the Royal, and stuff because it's just like, I think that piece of it is so important.
It is.
And you've got to have those things, right? But you also have to have the piece where smart brand collaboration, I think, is what you have to understand, that like just throwing a sticker on your car doesn't make you the fastest driver, right? So making, and it doesn't do anything for the brand that you're putting that on there, right? Like, so the ROI has to be there. Like we get numerous emails where it's like, yeah, my team's really good and would you sponsor us and send us free briskets? And it's like, well, how am I going to answer that, right? Like, and then how do you decide who you're going to sponsor and who you're not? And what if this year you're great, but next year you suck? And so that's why we're just like, what's really great? The Royal. The Royal's great and the Royal's fun every year. And we know that if we go there, we're going to get ROI. So that's what we do. And then it leads into other things like, hey, these guys have restaurants. Why are we not in the restaurants? And then that leads into an entire different piece of it where then we tie it into, we have customers that we met through barbecue that now all they serve with regard to briskets at their barbecue restaurants is Snake River Farms. And so then how do you explain to just the regular person listening that like, okay, so I totally dig that you buy 10 briskets a year. This guy buys 10 briskets a year plus, 100 cases a week. And so, and they do, and so that's kind of the piece of it where it's like, how do you play all those cards and, not piss anyone off and remain consistent and remain, having the best product. And now we've got, we do have these other players. Like it used to be Choice and Prime, and, we grade far above that. But we're starting to see Wagyu suppliers come into the mix. We're starting to see, because, 20 years ago, plus, like, well, I guess, just aged myself. The 80s were longer than 20 years ago. So in the 80s, when we started the Wagyu program, nobody else was doing it. Like when we say that we're the pioneers of American Wagyu beef, we're not, like we are. Nobody else was doing it then. Now, more and more people are doing it. They may not be doing it the same as we are. They may not be doing long feed programs, but the Wagyu breed is out there more. And so, I've always been like, make sure you're doing your research and make sure you're seeing before, you're doing everything, like see where the brand is coming from, see what they're feeding their animals. I get all crazy about US beef, and that's like a whole nother topic on a whole nother day. But because we support U.S. ranchers, we're, like I said, we're a pasture to plate company. Ranch sits in northern Washington and is gorgeous and has beautiful Wagyu mama cows up there. And we have a 100% mother cow herd, and we have a 100% Wagyu bull herd that is the basis of our operations. And so do we have 100% genetics? Yeah, 100%. The cattle that were in our programs in the 80s wouldn't even make it into our programs today. They'd be like 800th down the list because we've been able to perfect the genetics that much. And so, we have Gold Plus on our website now. Like we have steaks that are in that 11, 12 BMS range. And so I think that it's hard because, you see other things pop up, and to me, I just want to educate. And so I think that that's why I appreciate like the email piece of it, the marketing piece of it, the storytelling piece of it. Our company is a family owned company, and to this day, like our founder started the company in 1968. His son's our president and CEO. 2 of our vice presidents are his children. And so, it is, when we say it's family owned and operated, it is family owned and operated. And you can go knock on his door anytime. And you don't even have to knock because it's just open. And, I sit 5-6 feet from, the founder's granddaughter who runs our e-commerce division. And it's all family. Like we're all family. And to see that like we do every piece of it, like you look from like the cattle to how they're fed, like we own the company that does all of the feed, the nutritions, the supplements, everything that our cattle are fed, so that there's a consistent diet no matter where the cattle are. It's consistent. Wow. And then we own our own processing facilities. We work with the district. And so it's just, there's no one else that's doing what we do. No. And that's what makes us different. And so that's why when you talk to guys like Robbie, or you talk to Tuffy and, those guys that have been cooking for a real long time. And when they say, oh, all I've ever cooked is SRF, there's a reason. Mm-hmm. And Pat Burke trades me drink tickets at the Hill at the Jack Daniels for hot dogs. So, we're doing something right. There's stories I could tell.
Wow. But yeah, y'all don't have to brag. Social media brags for y'all, because if you go on there, you got folks shouting y'all out all the time. And it's not because y'all, like you said, y'all not endorsing anybody, so there's no reason for them to shout y'all out unless y'all product is what you say it is. So in order to get those shout outs, they know it's a good product and they keep using it. And some people jump on it because they see somebody else winning with it, and they tell them, hey, I use Snake River Farms. So that's going to poke their curiosity to go to the website. Okay, what is Snake River Farms? I want to be just like so-and-so. It just, that leads to 2 more people, that leads to 4 people, that leads to 8 people, that leads to 16 more people. Just
and that's like the power of social media has done that, right? Like, I mean, that's that other side of things. But, the first thing you learn in like Comm 101 is the difference between paid media and earned media. And like, I am not going to say how old I am, but you guys can all, come to my giant half-century birthday party this year.
I'm 52.
I have been here a long time. And so I've been like, so it's been really cool for me, right? Because I've got to see, like, when I was growing up, you didn't get to say, I want to be a YouTuber. No, that was not a thing. That was not a thing when I was growing up. But now, like, that's a legit thing. Influencer was not a job description when I was growing up. And now it's very much a thing, right? But it's also that level of, like, I don't ever want to have to pay an influencer. Because I think that, like, okay, so then are you really being real? And so to me, earned media has always been, like, earned media anyway, right? Like, everybody always says, like, there's no bad media, which there probably can be, but earned media just being like people talking about you and people loving your product because they love your product, right? Is huge. Now, I have had people I've offered a hat, like, just, hey, you want a hat? And they've literally looked at me and said, well, how much are you going to pay me to wear it? And to which point I just pulled the hat back and said, oh, no big deal. I just thought you might want one. No big deal. And there are those people out there, right? Probably not looking to align with those people because that's not, like, we're not on that same wavelength. And then you've got last week, I think 2 weeks ago or whatever, were the Oscars. Every year after the Oscars, they have what's called the Governor's Ball, which is where everyone goes and eats after the Oscars. And for 18 million years, Wolfgang Puck has catered the Governor's Ball. And Good Morning America did like a 3-minute bit with him where they were talking about everything he's making for the Governor's Ball. And in that entire segment, the only brand he mentioned by name was Snake River Farms.
Wow.
And we didn't ask him. We didn't pay him. I mean, he's been out. He's seen our ranch. He's seen the cattle. He's toured. He's seen how we treat our animals. He's seen all of that, right? And that's their group coming to us and saying, we want to see this. And, Mark Wahlberg on his socials saying he eats a New York strip steak every day for lunch. Bill's quarterback. I'm going to get in trouble for not knowing the name of this now. I mean, it's Haley Steinfeld's husband. All I knew was I felt like we were 1 degree separation from Michael B. Jordan at this point. But he gifted his entire O-line quarter cow for Christmas last year. And so and that's all earned media, right? Like those, like Henry Cavill is like for International Men's Day or whatever is like cooking an SRF brisket. And it's like even Superman knows what the best brisket is. Like those are things like you can't pay for that kind of coverage. So when I hand you a hat and you ask me how much I'm going to pay you to wear it, I'm probably just going to take my hat back and say, oh, thanks so much. But you can't ever expect like those things are going to happen, right? But what you can do is hope that you have really amazing product that you've worked really hard on making the best so that when it lands in the right hands, those are the things they say about it.
Exactly. Like I tell everybody on numerous shows that if you do your part, the rest will fall in line. But you got to do your part and you got to be prepared and you got to know your stuff. So when the opportunity pops up, you can't be fumbling around like your company. If they ask about meat, you got to know what they're talking about. And you can't.
And it's hard. I have sweated my ass off at food shows, cooking and listening to people be like, I could put it on as a special after they literally tasted whatever we were cooking and said it was the most amazing thing. Like I always say that like SRF kind of gives you that oh shit moment, right? Because like the minute you taste SRF product, it's like, whoo, and you go, that was the best thing I ever tasted. And so then I've got these guys that like run a country club telling me, oh, we could maybe do it as a special. And I'm like, you literally just told me it was the best thing you ever tasted. And you want to run it as a special. Like if you thought it was great, imagine what all your customers are going to think. Exactly. But it is that hustle. And it is that piece. It's how do you get the case space in the grocery store? How do you explain that grain fed is not inferior to grass fed? Because there are all these labels out there, right? There's this, like if it's a never ever program or if it's a, the grass fed thing always kind of cracks me up and like makes me think like, what in the, like fat is flavor and flavor comes from feeding and fat. And so it's okay. Like it doesn't like cows, it's not necessarily healthier just because your cow is, it's just going to be leaner beef, which is fine. And if you want to eat lean beef, awesome. But, the no antibiotics, no hormones, like there are no antibiotics or hormones in any beef that you're eating in the United States. Like it is federally regulated and there can be no traces of anything in the beef once it hits the stores. And so, but you can't like people don't get that. But if they see something on the package that says that, then they're going to be like, oh, this is safer. And so it's just all of that where it's like, oh man, it's hard. And so when you're looking at things like we literally spent today, like we were getting ready to do like a buy 3, get 1 free cowboy steak, which by the way, it's out there. And, but it's like, how do you explain, like it's a 4-pack. And so it's already priced with the free one in there. And how do you say it where everyone will understand that it's not necessarily you have to go buy 3 and you get 1 free. It's already in the 4-pack. It's already priced that way because you have to think of how every single person that you're sending it to, if it's going to 250,000 people, are going to hear it and they're going to see it. And how are they going to react? And what are they going to think? And how is it going to go in the cart? And like, every single thing we do, that's how we have to look at it. And so when you're just looking at like, yeah, you just got to market it. Like, yeah, just throw it on a social post. Yeah, just throw it in an email. It doesn't work that way. Like it's every single piece of it is looking deep into what kind of problems could it cause? What kind of comments would people come back with? What does the small print have to say? Do we have to put small print in it? It's a lot.
Yeah, because most people going to think if they just see the 4-pack, they want to see that extra piece of meat separate. Mm-hmm. They know that, okay, there's the extra piece right there.
Yeah, you do. And it's, and it's been awesome. Like I said, I've been so fortunate to get to do so many different things. And I think it's important for everyone in our company to do all the different pieces. Like go work at a grocery store with the salespeople on that side for a day. Go out and ride with the folks that are talking to the people at the restaurants. In the barbecue world, I've been very I'm a judge. I've cooked with teams. I've been too chicken to ever cook by myself, but it's on my bucket list at some point. I've now organized and have my own our own contest here in Idaho that I'm in charge of. So, I've done a little bit, I'm kind of involved in a little bit. And then obviously then I work for a company that supports. So I'm kind of involved in all of those pieces. So I can kind of see from all sides how it is, how it is and how it works. And it makes it gives me an interesting view on all of it. And P.S. I totally know more than just about contrary to Gabe's beliefs. I can teach you about all kinds of things.
I believe that just listening to you, because this has been excellent. I got goosebumps.
I always say that I could talk for 2 hours just about ground beef, and that's
it's been excellent. So what's the biggest moment you had dealing with working there / competition barbecue? It can be either one. What's the biggest moment that you can think of that you experienced?
Man, I would say there's probably a couple. 4 days into my job, Wolfgang Puck came to the office. So that was pretty, that was kind of oh my gosh, what? And he had on the nicest, fanciest shoes I'd ever seen in my life. I was like, y'all are going to take him out to the cow poop in that? But they did. And I would probably say in the world of barbecue, the people who I've been afforded to meet and who have just become a part of my extended family. I know that it's silly and I get all verklempt about it, but I could literally go anywhere in this country, and should I need anything, all I'd have to do is pick up a phone. And I think in like as far as like a high point.
Mm-hmm.
I love to sing. And so there have been 2 times Sterling Ball used to host the King of the Smoker.
Mm-hmm.
And like their opening, like the night that everybody got there, he like had his friends, which are like all Grammy level musicians. And he let me sing with them. And that was just like, oh, that was like awesome. And then a few years back, I sang the national anthem at the Royal.
Wow.
And so that was kind of cool because like a lot of people didn't know that I sang. And so then like to get up in front of everybody, and it was at the Open. And so it was like the big crowd. And so for everybody to kind of be like, hey, wow. So that means that's kind of big stuff. I mean, I've done some cool stuff. I've met some cool people.
Yeah.
And so it's been fun. I'm not going anywhere either, so buckle in, kids. I mean, just because I'm turning 50 doesn't mean we ain't got things going on. I got some stuff. We're ready to lock in and keep going.
Yeah, I turned 50 in February, and like I just started the podcast last year, and I was just like, I'm just getting started.
I feel like 50 is like the new 30. Like we are ready. This Gen X, we got to do something.
I got a 2-year-old, so I don't have no choice but to be here.
I'll say a prayer for you tonight.
That's why I haven't started competing yet, because I have a 2-year-old, so I got to make sure she up and on her way before I get out there. But I've been to different classes. I've been to Robbie class, Myron class, Luke Darnell, Chris Schaefer's, Joe Pierce's class. And
you want to tell me what they were all cooking?
You already know.
Yeah, like I said, it's awesome. And I think even just coming out and, meeting people and becoming part of like just the culture and like I said, just family. Like it's, I've called people, like I had a friend that was like broken down in the middle of Texas at one point, like just a friend of mine that their like truck totally went out and they had 2 little kids and they were traveling across country. And, I just pick up the phone and make a call and I'm like, hey, can you at least go get their trailer and help get them to a spot, and within 30 minutes. And it just like, those are things like that is to me, like, that's the essence of what you get in barbecue and barbecue family is like that barbecue guy, he didn't know those people from nothing, but he knew that they were my friends and that they needed help. And that's all it took. And so like, yeah, it's just family. And I think that we have to remember that. Like sometimes it's not about the score on the paper. Like, don't get so down on that sometimes. Like, I've seen people get really, and I get it. It's an expensive sport and everybody's putting a lot of money into it. And, you want to win. But at the end of the day, like, man, we're all doing great things and we're all there for each other. And don't forget that the person sitting next to you might be going through some serious shit. So just be there for each other.
Exactly. And they welcome me. I mean, I really got into it during COVID and stuff like that. And like I said, I wanted to compete. I haven't started yet. I still plan to, but I just went to classes so I can meet people. I go walk around comp so I can meet people, and they welcome me in like I was one of them. And I probably met so many people that other people ain't probably met, and they hold 10, 15, like Tim Shear and Luke Darden. I was in last.
We're just people.
Exactly. And they friendly, and that most folks be standoffish, like, man, they might not talk to me. But I was in Luke Darnell trailer at the Royal when they won. I was in there all day just hanging out with him and his wife. And
were you there when I dropped off when I roofied him? I feel like that's a good story to end on. I may have accidentally roofied Luke Darnell at the Royal. Luke did not know that the hot toddies, that the apple cider we made for awards had about a lot of vodka in it. And Luke, just happy Luke, was drinking the apple cider all night long. Wow. And we were like, dude, what is going on with you? And he's like, I'm fine. We're like, you are not fine. I'm fine. Well, the next day he told us, I didn't know that there was any liquor in that apple cider. I apologized by giving him a prime rib because I felt really bad for roofing him. But, if you're going to roofie somebody, it should probably be I know.
Exactly.
At least he was happy about it. I mean, all he's going to do is hug you.
Yeah, that's the mayor of barbecue.
Right? As I say, it's among my closest friends, and just let the love shine. Barbecue's about, about the family, and barbecue's about like, and don't be afraid to talk to people. I think you're just 100% dead on. Like, unless you're talking to them when they're turning stuff in, come on
Right,
now.
right.
But like, if you're just chilling on a Thursday night or a Friday night, like roll up and talk to people. People are so nice and they will literally tell you so much more than,
Exactly.
I've seen people literally be like, yeah, bring your brisket over. I'll show you how we trim. And they're like, what? And they're like, yeah, go get your brisket. It's like, okay. So, never be afraid to talk to people. And,
Yeah.
we're here. You need us, just holler.
Definitely, definitely. Like I said, I never asked anybody about barbecue. I just random conversation, and it may gradually go into that if they want to talk about it while they're working on it, but it just be regular conversation and stuff, just finding out more about, because there are actual people behind the barbecue and not just people don't focus on just talking about barbecue, going in with a mission. Find out about that person, what they like, they don't like, family, anything like that. So you can get familiar, do your homework on them. You start talking to them and spit these facts out. They're going to be like, wow, he really knows me. And that impresses them.
Yeah, you never knew until today that I was just a little country bumpkin.
Well, I did my research. I read your LinkedIn, and I was impressed by the paragraph on your LinkedIn. I was like, this is really, really good.
She's fancy.
I was like,
that's
very impressive.
Like, that's like Saturday afternoon, Annella. Thursday night, Annella is a little different.
All right, got a question for you. I'm gonna play one quick game and get you out of here. If you had to do an all-star competition, you and 3 other pitmasters, who are you picking, and which meat are each of you cooking? No, with you, since you could pick 4 people, and what meat are they cooking? They could be dead or alive.
I'm building my all-star team. Oh my god, this is not. I'm gonna piss somebody off somewhere. This is like me saying, oh my god, this is so hard.
Picking your favorites.
Okay, let me think, man. I think, this is like so unfair. This is like when you're like on a like Survivor and like, who would you pick to go home and why? And then they all look at you like with daggers in their eyes. I'm probably going to say brisket. And this is like, I get to pick like overall time, right?
Mm-hmm. Anybody.
Okay. Brisket, I'm probably going to pick Jambo. Because Jambo, I think, probably has one of the best fried briskets I've ever had in my life. Okay, can I further ask, is this at their prime or at right now?
At their prime. Anybody at their prime.
Okay, well then I'm going Jambo on brisket. I'm going to go Johnny Trigg on ribs.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I taking on chicken? Tuffy on chicken and Darren on pork.
Okay.
There's my dream team. Or maybe like Pat Burke on pork. He's won his fair share of pork. If I'm assembling my, dream team, that's probably my dream team.
All right. That's a good team.
All right. I pick people that aren't cooking anymore. Yeah.
Exactly. People gonna be like, why did she pick me?
She's so smart.
All right. I got another game. In college basketball, they have the tournament bracket. So I did a bracket of 16 meats that you cook on the grill. And I'm going to read each matchup, and you tell me which one you prefer to eat, and we'll see which one is the winner. All right. Matchup 1 is hamburger versus steak.
Well, it depends on the steak.
Any steak? Any steak? Okay. All right. Next matchup, pork ribs versus pork belly.
Belly.
Okay. Hot dog versus smoked chicken.
Hot dog.
Okay. Burn ends versus pork chops.
Burn in.
Okay. Smoked turkey versus sausage.
Sausage.
Okay. Smoked ham versus barbecue shrimp.
Ham.
Lamb versus brisket.
Brisket.
I'm already writing it down. Beef ribs versus smoked bologna.
Oh, shit. That one's hard. I'm going to go smoked bologna.
Oh, wow. That's a big upset.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Bracket buster right there.
Exactly. Steak versus pork belly. All right. Hot dog versus burn ends.
Burn ends.
Okay. Sausage versus ham.
Sausage.
Okay. And brisket. Yeah, brisket versus bologna.
That's not even fair. Brisket, I guess.
All right, final 4. Steak versus burn ends. All right, sausage versus brisket.
Brisket.
Snake River Farm brisket, that is. All right, you got steak versus brisket.
I'm outside skirt steak all day. I would pick a steak over brisket.
Okay. All right.
And I'd still probably pick the smoked bologna sandwich with pimento cheese on it.
Okay. I need to try this type of bologna because growing up, the bologna that I had was different from the bologna everybody talks about. So
yeah,
eventually I'm gonna have to
smoked bologna sandwich, thick cut with some pimento cheese on top of it. Get you some.
Yeah, growing up, we had the one with the red ring around it at the grocery store.
Nope, different.
That we didn't know what it was.
I should have just taken that one to the championship.
All right, enough. Your therapy session is over. If you want to promote, give the website.
I mean, hopefully y'all know. Hopefully y'all know it's snakeriverfarms.com.
I mean,
if you guys ever need anything, you know where to find us. We are going to be out and about. Who knows where you'll find us? I think we got hanging out, coming to some contests here and there, and you can find us on the interwebs. And yeah, anything you need, here we are.
Yeah, and definitely, I just want to thank you because this was excellent. It was full of information, and it was just good. I don't care about everybody else, but this was good. For me, it was good.
Listen, anytime. Anybody who's ever met me will tell you I can talk forever. So anytime you ever need anything, you just let us know. We're here.
Definitely. Are y'all going to be at Memphis in May?
I don't think we're going to be at Memphis in May this year. We're looking at some other stuff, but yeah.
All right, but I definitely look for you at the Royal this year. So
we will be there.
But on that note, I appreciate you and thank you for your knowledge and just coming on and talking to me.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
All right. No problem. Enjoy your day.
Yep. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for another therapy session. And remember, like, follow, and subscribe to help the barbecue therapy community. And also visit our website at www.barbecutherapypodcast.com.